Hi, Roseann. Come on in.
Hi.
How have you been?
Been okay.
You been out enjoying the nice weather at all?
Yeah, it's been okay. It's been a little hot for me. I don't like to be hot, so.
Yeah.
Today is nice because it's not really hot.
It's finally
But I did
weather.
get sweaty because I had to load a deck box into my vehicle. That was kind of hard.
So last week, when you were here, we talked about some of the conflicts, things that have been going on with you. Talked about you really wanting to have a baby,
Mm-hmm.
and your husband is just not there. So we talked about a lot of kind of feelings of loneliness with that, and feeling kind of let down. And then also, not just with that difference in having children, but sounded like overall your relationship with your husband, things have been pretty distant.
Yeah, they have.
Does that sound accurate?
Yeah. Last week after I left, we did talk a little bit more because he wondered where I'd been that afternoon, and which was kind of funny because he usually doesn't ever notice that I'm not at work or at home. But I told him that I had come to see you, and so he was. I don't know if he was surprised or if he was just concerned. But we did talk a little bit, yeah. So that was good that he noticed. That made me feel better about our relationship because he did care a little bit.
And that's been different than the way it has been, where he's been pretty off in his own world and you've kind of been left alone.
Yeah, yeah. And it was hard, kind of, because it was almost like I wasn't sure what to talk to him about, since it's been so long since we've really had a conversation. But it was nice because we actually ate a meal together that night. We went out for dinner and talked. So
it was a little awkward, but ended up working out.
Yeah.
What did you talk about?
He talked about work mostly. For me, I just kind of talked a little bit about work, but not really too much. And just I told him how we had talked about having kids and how he's been so distant about it and how I'm really having a hard time with that. So he was, I don't know if it was pity kind of on his part, but he did, he said he was sorry that he'd been distant about it and not wanting to talk about it. But he did say it was something that we could talk about again later.
So,
kind of, I guess, and he said later. It's kind of like, well,
how much later?
Now it's been a week again, haven't really seen them all except for that one night. But I guess I'll take one night a week over nothing.
You'd also talked about kind of that indecision about whether you would leave him or not, and that was a pretty big decision. But you said at that point, you'd almost rather be alone than to be in a relationship that wasn't working.
Right, and it is a huge decision. It's something that I've been with him for a long time now, and it's scary thinking about being alone again, starting all over. But it's scary thinking about just being alone, kind of it's not a loveless marriage, because I know he loved me, but it maybe emotionless is the better term. Or no, maybe be more intimacy, like that. There's not really any intimacy. Because even when we went to dinner, there, we talked, but didn't feel like we connected. Felt more like, talking to one of my guy friends or, my male coworkers or even like my cousin.
So you're looking for that emotional connection.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you talked a little bit more at dinner about surface kind of things, work and stuff, it didn't really feel like that intimacy was there.
Right. Yeah, we've lost that along the way. We always used to have it. And he was always the guy I went to for everything. I could talk to him about anything, and he was always there, and we always connected really well, and now it's just not there. And I know a little bit of it is kind of stress on both of our parts, but sometimes I just feel like he doesn't make that effort anymore.
Could you tell me a little bit more about how that relationship has changed and kind of those feelings associated with maybe the loss of that relationship that you once had?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess, it's been like in the last year that we just don't spend as much time together. Sometimes he doesn't even sleep in our bed when he comes home. Sometimes I don't even know he came home.
So is that loneliness? Is that sadness?
A little bit of both, but then sometimes it makes me wonder if he's having an affair too. But never thought he would be that kind of guy.
That's a big concern.
Mm-hmm. But I guess mostly like the disconnect that started really, like you said, about a year ago. He just didn't. He kind of quit calling home, saying he wouldn't be home for dinner, and I knew he was really busy. About that time, he was working on a related project at work. So I understood, but once the project was over, it kind of just kept happening. And he'd come home later and later, and then eventually it got to the point where I just didn't even worry if he was coming home and just take care of what I needed to take care of. And
so you became more self-sufficient, getting your emotional needs met as you were getting less and less of that from your husband? Does that sound
yeah,
close?
maybe. I mean, I probably wasn't getting my emotional needs met, just more so not worrying if he was going to be there or not.
So just more just kind of putting it out of your mind, or
Right. So it was kind of, maybe I just quit worrying about him and focus more just on me.
And you did talk about last time too, some of those other relationships that you have that
Mm-hmm.
you seem to draw some strength and support from.
Right. Yeah, and I don't, maybe that was part of the reason that he noticed too that I wasn't home was, I don't even know if he knows, but for like 2 weeks I didn't even go home. I just stayed at my friend's house. I was house sitting for them. There's no reason to be at my house. There's no pets. There's no
And did he know
anybody to take care of.
Did he know that you were house sitting?
No. No. I mean, you know, we talk mostly with our cell phones. A lot of times we just text each other. So he would just text me. And like I said, he doesn't even sleep in our bed every night. So if he didn't go home, didn't go into our bedroom, would notice. He'd think he would notice that my car wasn't in the garage, but he's a guy. So.
And you said he works pretty long hours and pretty intense.
But usually I'm home at 2 o'clock in the morning, so.
Boy, that must have felt kind of, I don't even know what kind of feeling that is when the person that you live with and love and is supposed to be there for you doesn't even notice when you're not at home.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
I don't know. It was sad that he didn't notice, but it almost felt like oblivion. I mean, so oblivious to not even notice that I wasn't there. It kind of I don't know.
So was there some anger?
I was upset that he didn't notice, yeah. But I don't know if I've just kind of come to the fact that he just doesn't notice. And it's funny because some days I don't even care that he doesn't notice. Then other days it's really hard. And and maybe it's harder now that there's this guy at work who he knows I'm married, but he keeps asking me to go out with him. So it's kind of nice that he's interested, but it's hard that he's interested but my husband is not.
So in some ways it feels good to have another man paying attention and
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's maybe just kind of sad that you're not getting that from the person who's supposed to be loving.
Right. The person who asked me to spend his life with him.
Yeah, I keep thinking of those marriage vows. So what does marriage, what does that mean to you?
I don't know anymore. I mean, you know, those marriage vows you say for better or worse, sickness and health, rich or poor. Well, you know, we're definitely on that richer side, but rich just isn't about money either. I mean, you have to have some of that emotion to be rich. And like I said, we have this huge house. It's empty a lot. So it's hard. I did talk about getting a dog, and
With your husband?
yeah, I guess he was okay about it. But I don't know.
So you have the physical security now and the financial, you feel steady,
Right.
secure, but without that
Right.
emotional component and maybe without having children or a pet
Right.
or
Yeah.
a strong relationship with your husband. Feels a little hollow.
I like hollow. Yeah. Hollow and kind of empty.
Yeah, that empty, that word feels a lot like that lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Does that seem to connect
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause when I'm with, you know, like when I'm with my best friend and her family, I guess I don't feel as lonely.
Right. So when you're having some meaningful interaction,
Right.
some relationship
Right.
with others you care about. Fills that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward, if we continue with therapy, what do you see as some of your goals? What would you like to accomplish with your time together?
Maybe trying to figure out if I'm okay staying where I'm at, or if I need to find the courage to move.
That's a big goal,
Mm-hmm.
but it sounds like you've come to a point where that's a crossroads and you have to decide.
Right. Kind of like shit or get off the pot. Need to, I'm not getting any younger,
Mhm.
and it's harder the older you are, trying to start over again.
Those are, difficult decisions and kind of turning points.
Mm-hmm.
Any other goals or things you'd like to work on?
I don't know if maybe I need to figure out if I gotta try to get him to go to counseling with me, and maybe we can talk about it together.
Maybe exploring that possibility of a referral or
Mm-hmm.
maybe some literature about couples therapy that,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard because that's, like you said, you can make the decision to come on your own, but
Right.
the couples therapy, it's going to be kind of a joint decision. So, but it sounds like maybe a door has been opened with him noticing that you're gone and having a meal together and going out. That was maybe a step, and
Yeah. It's probably a good step.
well, we'll keep exploring some of these. If you're thinking next week, will that
Sure.
work for it?
It'll work.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.